Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. We are less than 24 hours away from official Major League Baseball of the 2025 season. We'll have Cubs, Dodgers in Japan, 5:11 a.m. Central Time. Make sure you guys set your alarm, get the coffee poured, get ready for some baseball. I got lots of fun previewing stuff for you guys. We're going to talk about the Cubs outfield and where the flexibility lies within that, because we know our manager, Craig Counsell, loves to have flexibility. But before we get into all that good stuff, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Are you going to watch this game tomorrow at 5 a.m.? I hope so. We're going to have Shota versus Yamamoto. It's going to be an absolute blast. But before we get into that preview, let's take a look at the Cubs outfield. Now, in previous videos, we've talked about the pitching staff. We've broken down the infield. We've seen the depth chart and everything. This outfield, in terms of bodies, is pretty thin. Now, again, generally speaking, you do not carry a lot of outfielders because there's just not... Everyone's pretty flexible out there, right? Like, Pete Crow can play left and right if needed. Kyle can play center. Ian can play center, etc., etc. We have Seiya as the backup. Let's take a look at the depth chart for these Cubs right here. Obviously, Pete Crow, Kyle Tucker, and Ian Happ, all Gold Glovers, by the way, will be patrolling the outfield for the Cubs in this situation. Seiya is slated to be our designated hitter this season. So again, Cubs are very quote-unquote thin in this situation. Health, of course, is pending for the Cubs, but I can give you guys a couple of backup names that will be called up in a moment's notice if needed, if one of these guys unfortunately does go down with an injury. So we could talk about the likes of Kevin Alcantara. He might get up here and make an appearance. Or Owen Cassie, potentially. He could be called up. He's ready to go. He's on the 40-man roster. Plenty of outfielders can potentially get up here just in a moment's notice if the Cubs do need them. So that's the starting three. PCA, Ian Happ, Kyle Tucker, laden with gold. Again, the Cubs defense this year, I expect to be in the top 5, not top 10, top 5. With the amount of Gold Glovers that they have, absolutely special group. Hopefully, luck is a little bit more on their side and they're able to cover a lot of ground and prevent a lot of runs from happening. Speaking of preventing runs, let's talk about Game 1 of 125. Coffee and Cubs. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting up at literally 5:11 a.m. First pitch, 5:11 a.m. from Tokyo. It's going to be a good one. Yamamoto versus Shota Imanaga. Cubs, Dodgers. An early litmus test in the 2025 season. These games do matter on the Cubs record. And if you guys have watched the Cubs the past few years, they have fallen just short of the playoffs, losing by a game or two here or there. So these games could prove critical, but from previous experience in watching the Cubs, these games against the Dodgers head-to-head, quote-unquote, don't matter. Because if the Cubs were to match up with the Dodgers in October, they would look like a completely different ball club. We will look like a completely different ball club. But it never hurts to get off to a good start. So let's see who on the Cubs here can help us get off to a good start. This is going to be the pitching matchup right here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have Shota Imanaga versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Both had outstanding rookie years last year. Shota obviously worked his way as one of the premier pitchers on the Cubs staff. Justin Steele is quote-unquote our ace, but Shota is getting the head start here on the mainland. Love these numbers from Shota. 174 strikeouts, 105. I know it says 1.74. It's 174 strikeouts, ladies and gentlemen. His whip was a 1.02. Whip was 1.02, which means he barely let over a run per inning. Had an under 3 ERA. Yoshinobu had an under 3 ERA. So again, both these guys are absolutely fantastic pitchers. Frontline aces. I think the over-under in runs is set at 8.5. I'm not sure. It could go over. It could go under. It's going to be the first game of the year. It's really hard to react and overreact to these situations, especially given it's just the first game of the year. You guys saw the first game in Japan, right? I reacted to it in a previous video. The Cubs, they were jumping on the first pitches, etc., etc. The opposing pitcher was just trying to throw strikes, get the ball over the plate, and the Cubs tried to take advantage. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in their favor. Now, another important part of this game, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that the Cubs and Dodgers will be using a Major League Baseball. Apparently, the Major League Baseball is a little bit different than the Japanese version of baseball. The Japanese baseball is a little bit smaller. I don't think it weighs too much less, but I know the ball does not carry as well. So the Major League Baseball is a little bit heavier. It's a little bit larger in circumference, and the ball flies off the bat a lot better. So that is going to be the pitching matchup. The lineups will probably come out later tonight. Again, I'm going to give you guys instant reaction after the game tomorrow. So make sure you guys are locked into Cubs Daily. Like and subscribe to the channel, and you'll get the instant reaction for tomorrow's festivities. So let's talk about the keys to the game for Imanaga, right? It's all about getting off to a good start here for the Cubs, right? It's always great when your team can get out to an early lead. I want Imanaga to get out ahead of these guys. Don't try and dilly-dally, because again, the front four for the Dodgers is absolutely stacked, right? It's going to be Shohei Ohtani, it's going to be Mookie Betts, and then it's going to be Freddie Freeman. And then batting fourth and fifth, it's going to be a combination of Teoscar Hernandez and Will Smith, who are both outstanding players in their own right, and they're even more outstanding style of players when they're following those first three Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? So Showtime needs to get off to a quick start, a good start, throwing strikes early. Don't try, and be afraid of them, because these guys are absolutely fantastic hitters. So we want to strike out Shohei as quickly as possible. Get out ahead of Mookie Betts. Again, these guys, it's the first game of the Major League season. They might come out and be a little overzealous as well, They might be aggressive early, and Showtime might be able to take advantage of that, especially if he's painting with his fastball, and then he can use his off-speed stuff to really get out ahead of them and keep their timing off foot. That's the most difficult thing about baseball, ladies and gentlemen. It's not even necessarily the speed of the ball or anything like that, which that is difficult, by the way, but it's the ability to go from 96, 97 to 85, 84. That 13 mile per hour difference is absolutely heartbreaking to a batter. So if Shota can really keep these hitters off balance, then the Cubs have a good chance to win here. Now, same can be said for the Dodgers, right? It's the first game for Dodgers pitchers Yamamoto as well. If he comes out early and the Cubs aren't ready to swing the bats, we could be in for a long morning here in the Chicagoland area. But like I said before, ladies and gentlemen, I think the Cubs are going to take game one. I'm an optimist. That's the one thing you're going to learn here on this channel, is that I am an absolute optimist for our Chicago Cubs. I think they have the potential to win every game. Now, that doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. No team has ever gone 162-0. But I do believe in our roster and our forefront that we can at least win this ball game. Now, on to the next portion of the program. If you guys want to, get up early, pour some coffee, and maybe make a little money, then let's head on over to my bets for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have some fun. I have a couple straight bets that might pique your interest, and I also have a same game parlay if that piques your interest as well. These odds are according to FanDuel. They might give you guys some juiced boosts as well, but this is how I like to place wagers, ladies and gentlemen. I like to place wagers that generally benefit the Cubs winning, because I want the Cubs to win. I want to root for the Cubs to win. So, again, bet responsibly. You do not have to follow it, but we can follow along this year with me if you want to, right here on Cubs Daily. So, here are some of the bets I will be looking into tomorrow. I like Cubs money line. It is plus 124. I believe it was plus 130, 140 a couple weeks ago, but more people are betting on the Cubs. Again, neutral field, all that stuff overseas. I know the jet lag's probably worn off, technically speaking, for both of these teams, but it's Japan. You never really know what's going to happen, so it's a lot more of an even bet straight on if that does pique your interest. But I like the Cubs plus money in this situation. They are the home team. I do think they are going to be able to take care of business against the Dodgers, at least in game one. I'm rooting for a split in the two games, honestly. Cubs win one and lose one. Go home. Get ready for March 27th, the whole nine. I am thinking about sprinkling a little half unit action on Imanaga to strike out 6+. Because again, I do like him in that season-long parlay for our season-long straight of over 155.5 strikeouts. I think he's just that good of a pitcher. But I also think that the Dodgers hitters, it's the first game of the year. You got to get used to the pitcher, right? That's going to lead to a lot of easy early-on strikeouts. So I think Imanaga can absolutely strike out at least 6. And if you guys want to do a ladder, Imanaga's 7 strikeouts is plus 400. So you could quadruple your money if you're interested in that as well. Here is my same game parlay that I'm leaning towards for the Cubs. Again, plus 1698 is going to be the grand total. If you bet $10, you're going to win $169.89. But here's what I like. 4 legs, Cubs plus 1.5. I just want that insurance just in case maybe the Cubs do only lose by 1 run. Tucker to have 2 total bases. I think he's going to break out from that spring slump, and he's going to get the Cubs offense rocking and rolling here early on. Imanaga over 4.5 strikeouts. That should be easy money. And then I'm telling you guys, I think PCA is set to have a massive breakout season. This guy is going to be a key contributor to this Cubs team. If Pete Crow can take that next level, right, and up all of his classic hitting numbers and some of those analytics numbers, the Cubs are going to be a completely different ball team, right? He was a 2.7 WAR defensively, and with his stolen bases last year, I imagine he's going to get on base more. He's going to cause more havoc. You already saw the previews in spring training, so I have PCA to steal a base as well. If you want to just do a straight of PCA to steal a base every game this year, it's not going to happen, but his odds are like plus 260 every time. So that's a pretty good wager, I'd say. I would take advantage of that, personally, if I were you guys. So that is the preview for Game 1 of 162. Guys, I will see you tomorrow morning with the instant reaction to the Cubs and Dodgers. Again, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.